A trail of destruction and for many, heartbreak. This is a view of Columbus from the WCBI drone. It shows the devastation left by the twister that tore through the town late Saturday evening, destroying homes and businesses and killing a mother of two. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jory Talley.
And I'm Cash Matlock. Well, there's still utter shock and raw emotions after the tornado tore through Columbus, and families are in mourning as 41-year-old Ashley Pounds of Tupelo died from the injuries sustained in the tornado. Now, more than a dozen people were also injured, and as we are seeing things for the first time in the light, this was the heartbreaking scene last night. The Hunt Intermediate School and Sim Scott community were damaged, or destroyed rather, when the twister barreled through. United Deli, a popular gas station and sandwich joint, also taking a hard hit.
The building is damaged. One of my car windshield is damaged. The roof, I'm going to check in the morning. I see a little leak coming up, and I'm going to check it up in the morning. But inside, we fine. You know, around the building, got hit a couple spots, but we check it up in the morning when the light comes, and we see.
Well, emergency crews stated that they haven't seen a disaster quite like this in Columbus in many years.
Dozens across Columbus and Lowndes County continue to pick up the pieces a little more than 24 hours after a tornado ripped through the area. Our Stephanie Poole speaks with some of those impacted and has more.
When you drive down the streets, memories of what used to be still lingers, and so do new worries.
It totally messed up everything in the front part of the house. The porch is gone. It's sitting in the backyard. I just don't know.
This family on Waterworks Road is trying to cope with the scars from Saturday's tornado. The driveway, porch, and landscape looks as if it dispersed into thin air. Most of the homes and commercial businesses in this area felt the tornado's wrath, including Columbus Fire Service. It's hard to tell this used to be the building because the sign is no longer out front.
It's going to affect a lot of people for quite a long time. We're struggling with it as well. There's a lot of parts that were lost and damaged, and we'll try to find some place to reopen and get our service work going again.
You'll see helping hands up and down the street working to restore the community.
We've been cleaning up wood, debris, tin, hauling it, just whatever's needed to be done at the moment.
Out of all the chaos from Saturday night, Columbus is remembered why it's called the Friendly City.
There are available shelters for those who have been displaced. For more information, head on over to our website at WCBI.com.
And as of today, over 20 counties have made local proclamations declaring a state of emergency. In Lowndes County, state and local emergency response officials met at the EMA office in Columbus this morning to discuss a plan of action. MEMA Director Greg Michelle says road crews are currently in the process of assessing the damage. He also says Governor Phil Bryant has been in contact with city officials.
I spoke with the governor earlier today, and of course he expresses certainly his concerns about the damage that's been affected here. He will sign a state of emergency tomorrow, and from there we'll move out and do our damage assessments, and if we meet the required thresholds for that, then we'll be seeking federal assistance at that time.
And we want the citizens to know that we're doing everything within our power to get them all the assistance that we can get. That's from food, shelter, hotel rooms, and the power back on.
Well, Michelle says the biggest issue for emergency officials that they're facing is people coming to look at the damage. He's asking anyone who doesn't live in the affected areas to please stay out. Well, it's time now for our first look at our forecast with meteorologist Keith Gibson. Hey, Keith.
Cash, let's talk about the Columbus tornado rated an EF3, path length 10 miles, max wind 137 miles per hour, and it touched down just down the street from WCBI TV. Again, 1 fatality, 11 injuries right there. Can't forget about the Burnsville tornado rated an EF2, another strong tornado that moved from eastern Alcorn County into northern Tishomingo County. Again, no fatalities, no injuries with that. 5 tornadoes confirmed with the situation yesterday, a couple over there in the West Alabama, and 2, including 1 in Lamar County. Now, we're done with that tonight, down to around 31, back to around 60 tomorrow, mostly sunny. Your full 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Keith. When the storm first hit last night, over 4,700 people were left without power. Crews have been working all day to get the light back on. Todd Gale with Columbus Light and Water says today only about 1,500 people are without power. Gale says crews are working through the night to get the city back up and running. hopefully within the next few days. He says power lines were damaged throughout the entire city from South Columbus to the middle of town and parts of East Columbus.
We're hoping that in the next 2 to 3 days, could be even as far as Friday, but it just depends on what areas are affected and how bad the damage and the extent of the trees and vegetation to remove would be. The quickest way we can get it up is if we just have a clear work zone and we're having problems with people moving barricades or walking through construction zones. So if you could stay clear from those.
Gail says power has been restored to the hospital, the water plant, and the majority of downtown and Highway 45.
Residents affected by the storm say they're counting their blessings. Many of the people we spoke to weren't home when the twister struck the friendly city. Now, Happy Irby was at her birthday party, or at a birthday party rather, hiding in the corner with his family when the twister moved through. He says they came home to find windows blown out, trees uprooted, and power lines everywhere. Key Malone was grabbing a bite to eat when the sirens blared. She found herself right in the middle of the storm. Not long after, tree limbs and debris are sprawled across the streets and roadways, especially along Tuscaloosa Road. Business owners are also picking up the pieces of what's left. Residents say 12 to 13 people were trapped in a building in that area. All of them made it out okay.
I didn't even know it wasn't no tornado, and I was riding through with trees and limbs and stuff. They just were falling.
My curtains were outside the windows. It had sucked my windows partially out in the front.
And we got our lives and material things can be recovered.
We'll clean up and rebuild and go back out there trying to make sure that everybody else is safe.
Well, the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency says early damage reports indicate that at least 300 homes, 190 roads and bridges, and 30 businesses in 20 counties were damaged by weekend storms.
Friends of Ashley Pounds are remembering her as a loving mother, a daughter who had a positive impact on countless lives. Many of her friends shared their memories of Ashley at a memorial service organized at the social club she founded in Tupelo. WCBI's Allie Martin was there and has more.
They came from Grenada, Columbus, Amory, and other northeast Mississippi cities to mourn the sudden loss of Ashley Pounds, but also to remember her life of service to others.
We all got different patches, we're all different colors, but we all stand for the same thing.
Amen. And if there's anything that we can do, we want you to let us know. We got our arms wide.
The memorial service was held at the Tupelo-based social club known as Devastating Southern Bells. Ashley helped start the club 5 years ago and served as its president.
She loved giving back to the community. She loved helping one another. And she stood behind her motto was, is that we got to give back to the community. No matter who it was, whatever the circumstances was, the situation was, if you called and told her that you needed something, she was going to make sure that you got it.
DSB members also remember Ashley as an only child and a devoted mother to her 2 sons.
Be there for her family, her mom, her 2 boys, and as well as her sisters, because she was the only child and we are her sisters, so we're going to be there for one another.
After the time of reflection and remembrance, balloons were released with Ashley's favorite colors.
1, 2, 3. We
love you, Ashley. In Tupelo, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
Pounds is the first person to be killed by a tornado in 2019.
Well, high river levels were the cause of several rescues today. Now, people were trapped inside homes along the river, causing multiple rescues in Columbus. First responders used boats to go door to door along Nash Road, Hummingbird Lane, and along Wilkins Wise Road near Columbus Lake. Many roads in the area are also flooded.
Advice to the citizens of Columbus: if you don't need to be out and about tonight, please stay home. There are not enough barricades or emergency responders to man all of the dangerous intersections, and so those that are unaware may find themselves in trouble. So if you don't have to be out in the affected areas, please stay home, use caution, use discretion. And the emergency responders in the community would appreciate it.
More barricades and equipment will arrive tomorrow. Locals living out the motto of Columbus. That story coming up after the break.
Watching WCBI News at 10 with Jory Talley.
Welcome back, everyone. People across the area are lending a helping hand in the impacted areas here in Columbus, truly showing what it means to live in the friendly city. We had a chance to talk to volunteers who jumped into action to help their neighbors.
Columbus is just a big neighborhood, and we saw hundreds of people showing up, carrying logs out of the backyard, helping people move their stuff, trying to store the things that hadn't been destroyed. And really, when you get down to it, the government will do its part, but the faith-based community and their neighbors are what really makes a difference.
People across the friendly city are working to help clean up and offer support all across tornado-scarred areas.
Offering sandwiches, chips, apple, bottled water, anything to help relieve the people that can't cook right now. We just wanted to come, be the hands and feet of Christ.
Passing out food, cooking, or serving it, volunteers are doing all they can to help those impacted.
I'm totally devastated over everything. That's why I felt like I needed to do something, and this was the best way to do it.
We even caught up with Ward 5 Councilman Stephen Jones, helping people affected by the storm.
This morning we went door to door trying to pass out breakfast to people that may not have had power, that wasn't able to eat, and then now we're just out here trying to cut up some trees in different areas, because of course the city will not go on private property. So we're just trying to make sure we get some of these trees to the street so that, city can pick them up.
Jones, along with childhood friends, are back where they grew up, picking up fallen trees and the pieces.
I got a lot of friends of mine that, that I grew up with. They're all out here volunteering. All this stuff that they have, these are actually friends of mine that, grew up in this neighborhood or that, associated with this neighborhood somehow. And they've all come out to help.
For more information on how you can help with the tornado cleanup, head on over to our website at WCBI.com.
Right now we have temperatures cooling down into the 40s. Some spots like Oxford already into the 30s. A chilly night. We are mainly clear. Lows tonight, low 30s in many spots here. Your full forecast for the next 7 days is next.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
No weather issues right now at 10:17 on our Sunday evening. All quiet, no rain, no storms. But look at this, flooding along the Tenn-Tom, the Point Harbor area just west of the Highway 50 bridge there in eastern Clay County, right there along the Tenn-Tom. Extensive flooding continues. The Tenn-Tom is actually about as high as it's been in about 28 years or so. Crazy stuff here in the Columbus area. Thanks a lot to Lincoln for that great photo. Now, speaking of that, the 9th highest mark on record at the Stenislaken Dam, about 166 feet in elevation. Now, we're peaking. We are peaking right now with the flood situation in and around the Columbus area. The Luxapalila also peaking here in flood stage, but we will start that descent here shortly in many of these spots. In Amory, we have already started the descent as far as the flooding. It's going to take some time here through the middle of the week. In Fulton, notice this nice drop we've had so far today, and we will be below flood stage here, it looks like, early tomorrow morning or sometime on Monday. But all of this water has to go somewhere. It is flowing to the south, and the Bevel-Locken Dam is still gathering water there on the southern part of the Tenn-Tom in our area. So eventually all of these rivers that we have flood warnings for will get below flood stage, but right now it's very wet. We've had a lot of rain around here. Several inches of rain. Some spots have seen over a foot of rain over the last 7 days, but right now we have no issues. Columbus, Tupelo, Vernon, Durham's Pharmacy, Louisville, Mississippi with our Alpha Insurance Camera Network. All quiet here on our Sunday night. We've got low 40s to mid 40s in many spots, but some locations like Oxford are reporting 30s. Skies are clear out there. Lows tonight down into the lower 30s. The wind is dying down, so not too bad. Tomorrow up to around 60, give or take. Winds from the southeast. 5 to 10, maybe up to 15. It's looking like a pretty nice day here. So no major concerns. Mostly sunny skies, still a dry day. Good to get out there for those recovery efforts, and also good for the flood situation. No rain in the region means those waters will continue to flow away and gradually recede. High pressure is moving through the region right now, so that's giving us the clear conditions and mostly sunny skies for tomorrow. We'll start to see some additional clouds on Tuesday, a chance for some late day showers. Also into our Wednesday and Thursday, rain chances will stick around as several disturbances roll on through the region. Now we are advertising rain chances to continue for the rest of the work week into Friday. Temperatures getting back into the mid to upper 60s here. A cold front comes in later this week. That will cool us down for the weekend. Will we see some strong storms with that? We'll wait and see later this week. But right now, there's your 7-day forecast.
One of the few remaining SEC matchups for the Bulldogs. Highlights from the Humphrey Coliseum are next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
6th-ranked Mississippi State with a 13-1 record at home and only 2 more of those home games to go. The Bulldogs and head coach Vic Schaefer hoping to change that to a 14-1 home record as the team hosts Vanderbilt earlier this afternoon. Let's get to the hump. The 6th-ranked Bulldogs facing Vanderbilt. One of these teams have 1 loss in conference. The other has 1 win. Second quarter, Tierra McCowan on the offensive rebound and the putback. State up by 5 a little later. Andra Espinoza-Hunter has too much room. She knocks down the open 3-point shot, one of her many threes of the day. It'd be 32-27 Mississippi State. Fourth quarter now, the Bulldogs leading. Jasmine Holmes on the steal, dumps it off to Onreal Howard for 2. MSU extends its lead to 12. Less than 6 left in the game. Espinoza-Hunter driving in the lane, taking her time a little bit before she's going to get going. And then she hits the lay-in and draws the foul. The Bulldogs leading 71-55, and McCowan continuing to dominate under the basket with just the 1 shoe. She finished still with a team high 23 points, 8 rebounds. The Bulldogs get the win today, 86-70. They return home to face LSU Thursday night. The Hogs hosting Ole Miss, who they beat handedly in Oxford earlier this year. Chelsea Dungy averaging just under 19. She opens the game with a nice 3-point shot. And Ole Miss would come back and answer. Chandrika Sessom rises up and hits the 15-footer to tie the game at 7. Dungy continuing to pour in over the points. Another 3 from the corner, and that's good to go. She can take the ball inside as well off the dribble. The contested shot. Dungy gets it to go off the glass. She had 14 in the first half. Dungy, she can dish it out well. Atiana Golden back after going down during the Hogs win over Vanderbilt back in January, buries the jumper. Crystal Allen knocks down the triple just before the first quarter buzzer. The game tied at 18 after 1. Malika Monk still nursing her hand injury. She makes the swipe, and she's going to go coast to coast. The Hogs up by 5, and then Golden over to Jalen Mason for the spot up 3. Arkansas hitting 5 of 16 from beyond the arc in today's game, and Arkansas would be too much. The Hogs would pull away in the second half to take the win, a final of 73-61. The Rebels will stay on the road to play Alabama coming up on Thursday. Well, we had plenty of games yesterday, but due to the weather, I was unable to show you those, so we'll make sure to get to those coming up next in sports. Stick with us. Over to Oxford now with a packed pavilion where Ole Miss is looking for its 9th conference win against Georgia. The first half, Terrence Davis hot from early on, just behind the arc. He pulls up for the 3-point look, and he'll knock it down. Later on in the half, Devontae Shuler with the wide open look from the top of the key. Another 3-point basket. Ole Miss up 20-18. Terrence Davis with the ball, kicks it out to Bruce Stevens, and look at Stevens drop the dime. Ole Miss goes on an 8-point unanswered run, and it continues. Georgia on offense. But the ball is tipped away. DC Davis with the steal. He takes that all the way to the rim and flexes with the dunk. Tom Crean and the Bulldogs forced to take a timeout. The Rebels keep firing away. Davis in his hot takes from the corner 3. Ole Miss 28-18, 10 points unanswered. Both teams with a bit of a scoring drought. Bree and Tyree puts an end to it. Knocks down the 3-point money shot with under 3 minutes to go. KJ Buffin helps to finish it off strong. The left-handed layup off the glass to put the Rebels up by 12. And Shuler ends it on a high note with the 3-point bucket. The Rebels up by a dime at the half, and a wild second would follow it, but Ole Miss able to shy by Georgia for its 9th conference win, 72-71. 17 points off the bench. Tyree led the Rebels with 17 of his own. Now to Starkville as MSU takes on South Carolina. The Dogs in search for win number 20. First half, Gamecocks with no one as Keyshawn Bryant finishes at the rim with the left-hand jam. Later in the half, Hugh Weatherspoon trying to get things going for State. The crossover as he takes the defender's ankles in the process. State trailing by 8. Carolina now up 16. Q cuts into that with the and one bucket, and he would hit the free throw. The Dogs down by 13. And then right before the half, State clamping down on D as Holman gets the loose ball, goes all the way to the rim for the two-hand jam. State trailing by 7 at half, but goes on to win after Lamar Peters explodes in the second half. The final 76, South Carolina 61. Mississippi State continues to win. Well, the Diamond Dogs closing out the weekend this afternoon. The Bulldogs hosting the Southern Miss Golden Eagles for a 3-game weekend series. And MSU capped it off today with none other than a walk-off win. Always a great way to end the game. Tanner Allen sent one right down the right field line, all the way to the back wall, and Jordan Westberg able to run on home. So MSU with a series win over Southern Miss, 2-1. Next up, the Bulldogs host Jackson State coming up on Tuesday. The Rebels also finishing out a 3-game series in New Orleans. Friday's game, Ole Miss pulls off the win 6-4 over Tulane, but an absolute heartbreaker coming out of Game 2 yesterday. Ole Miss would be down 11-9 in the top of the 9th inning, but Thomas Dillard gets a home run to bring in 3 runners and give the Rebels a 12-11 lead. Tulane would finish it off with a walk-off run yesterday. They'd get the victory for Game 2. Unfortunately for the Rebels, it'd come down to a decision game this afternoon, but Ole Miss able to pull out a win in Game 3. The final would be 6 for Ole Miss, 3 for Tulane, and they would take the series win 2-1. That's it for sports. We'll have your last look coming up after the break. Stick with us.
It's been a while since we've had 2 sunny days here, back to around 60. Some clouds build in on Tuesday. Can't rule out some late day showers, but a better opportunity for some rain starting Wednesday. Mild week. We're looking at highs mainly in the mid to upper 60s later on.
Wow, nice to have the sunshine out like you were saying.
A nice little change of pace. It's been pretty cloudy and wet around here, so we need this break.
I'm definitely ready for a mild week.
Oh, we
sounds
are.
nice.
Well, speaking of weeks, y'all have a great one. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.